Hey everyone, so the two tools that I decided to look a little deeper into for this screencast was quizzes and Nearpod. Now I want to start with quizzes because I think it's going to be the assessment tool that I use the most in my classroom now. Quizzes is a lot like Kahoot for those of us who know how to use Kahoot, who use it every day. It's very, very similar and in multiple ways. So the very first way is that you don't actually have to create a quiz if you don't want to. So you can if you want. There's a create a quiz button. But if you're running low on time and just need a quick, easy formative assessment, Quizzes has a ton of free resources for you to use that can range from any topic, as you can see up here. And so I've been looking at some math quizzes, and so those are automatically up here in my popular quizzes. But so if you can tell on the right hand side as I scroll over these quizzes, what's on the right hand side changes, and that's because it's giving you a preview. So if I scroll over solving one-step equations, I can see that it's 20 questions long, and I can actually scroll through and look at what those question types are to see if that's the quiz I want to use for my class. If I actually click on it, I can see a little bit deeper of what I'm talking or what I'm seeing, so I can have them show me the correct answers or just hide the answers. And again, you can scroll and see the questions. Now, what's really important about quizzes, what you should know about quizzes, and why I think you should use quizzes over Kahoot, is that quizzes is more accuracy based. So if you're like me, you have found that your students with Kahoot are not putting forth their best effort because it's more about who can click the fastest, who can click the answer the fastest and get done. And that's not beneficial to the students whatsoever because they're not actually reviewing the content. What I like about quizzes is that it is based on accuracy. So the biggest difference that I have found so far is that with Kahoot, the question pops up on your smartboard and the students have the answers. With quizzes, the questions go individually to each student. And so it's personalized. So the students who need more time can take more time, and the students who know it and need to, and want to move on, need to move on, have that option to do so. So that's really cool. It actually shows up on my smartboard on quizzes is the leaderboard. So as the students are answering questions, whether they get it right or wrong, they can see their person and their standing move up and down in the leaderboard. So that's really neat. And all of that can be found in the live game. That's just like Kahoot. You have a live game going right then, right there, and the students love it. I'm also interested in the homework game. I'm going to try to use this with my class here this week. I think that this is going to be beneficial for the students just as a way of getting out of the rut of using paper pencil homeworks. It's the same game-based assessment, just in homework style. So you can set a specific date and time for it to be completed. And so I think that's going to help the students at least do their homework, because instead of working on paper or pencil, they at least get to get on the computer or their cell phone to do their homework. So hopefully that'll work. I'll let you know in the future. I also like the solo game option. So this is different from Kahoot because there is the solo game option. Kahoot, if I wanted my students to review at home by themselves, I had to teach them how to toggle between the question screen and their answer screen, which is really difficult for them as sixth graders to do or to remember how to do. With quizzes, you have a solo game, so they can play on their own, they can review on their own. I think that's going to be beneficial for them because they'll be more willing to actually review their questions. The reports are also really cool because you can individually see per student what they got right, how many questions they got wrong, how many they got right. You can also see their accuracy. Again, I love quizzes because it's based on accuracy. So this student, I know he knows what he's doing. I don't have to worry about him. I don't need to reteach anything. But if I scroll down, this student, I might be a little concerned that she doesn't know as much as I feel that she should know by this point. It's instant feedback for the students because, again, they can see what score they made. I can see it broken down by question. I can also see an overview of all the questions. So if I scroll through, I can see that question 8, wow, we only had 36% accuracy on that question. So that tells me I need to go back to question 8, back to that concept, and reteach it to them. I think it's a great assessment tool, whether it's for reviewing for a quiz or test, or if you want to use it as a ticket out the door to review your lesson. I think that would be a great option for you and your students. Now, Nearpod was a lot less user-friendly. I wanted to learn how to use Nearpod because our learning management system, Canvas, has a link for it. And so I wanted to actually know how to incorporate it into the math classroom and it not just be there standing pretty, per se. So when I first get there, you think, oh, I can explore the resources. And that's really exciting when you first go on there because you can scroll down and see, wow, there's a lot of resources here. However, they're not all free. So if I actually wanted to find a free lesson for math for my 6th grade students, you can see that my options are very, very limited here. And that to me was very frustrating and disappointing about Nearpod because as a teacher, time is very limited and time is precious. And I would much rather be able to pull from some free content versus having to create one. Because when I actually went into my library and tried to create a lesson for this, it was very difficult to do. Again, it's not user friendly. I wouldn't recommend using it for a 6th grade classroom because of how unuser friendly it is. I feel that you would spend so much time answering questions about the platform than actually being able to do the lesson. So I created a quick warm-up instead because I did like the activity options there that Nearpod has. And so like if you wanted to add anything, you have content. This is where, again, it's very frustrating because if I wanted to add an audio file, I would think that I could record an audio file here, but as you can see, I can't. I would have to create an audio file on a different app and then upload it, and that just takes so much time to be able to do. But there are activities that you can add, like the quiz, and that's what I used on this lesson. So I created the quiz for the students. I'm going to use this as a warm-up this week, and it's just a quick 4-question quiz about one-step equations, solving one-step equations, adding and subtracting. You are limited to multiple choice, so really the students could guess if they wanted to. You're not sure if they're showing their work, but I do like the fact that it's short, it's simple, and it gives the students and me immediate feedback. I can also set a timer, which is amazing because I find that my students like to talk instead of do their warm-up, and so warm-up takes 15-20 minutes versus the 10 minutes that it should take. So I do like having the timer there, and again, it automatically grades it. So if the students are spending time talking instead of doing their warm-up, then unfortunately their grade is going to reflect that. So I did like this option. I would probably only use it for warm-ups because that was easiest for me to figure out how to make. Now, again, I am very new to Nearpod, but just with the initial impression, it's not very user-friendly compared to quizzes. There's not as many resources available free for me to use like quizzes is, and I think that quizzes is just going to be a better option to use for your students. So I hope that this video gives you a little idea into both of those options. Again, I would recommend using quizzes in your classroom. I just feel that your students, especially if you have younger students, are going to enjoy quizzes a lot more than they would Nearpod.